Recording.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, Chad.
How's it going?
It's great.
What are we watching today?
I'm very excited to watch Hobo with a Shotgun tonight.
Yes.
And I know you've seen the first few minutes. I showed it to you a while ago. I saw it in the theater when it came out at the New Art.
Actually played in theaters.
Yeah. At least the smaller independent theaters. I don't think it was at the AMC in the middle of the Midwest.
Well, I remember seeing the trailer and it looked awesome.
It is awesome. But, I mean, not totally. It's very Canadian, I guess.
What?
It feels very Canadian. You'll see what I mean.
Why? Because it's a shotgun movie? I mean,
no, I mean, I think they did shoot it in Canada for one, but
well.
I think you'll see what I mean. But you haven't seen the whole thing, so you tell me what you're expecting here.
I'm expecting definite like violence exploitation. Rutger Hauer being an utter badass, like the old grandpa who lost his way and just. I guess I'm kind of imagining what was the Keanu movie that just came out, not the cat movie.
John Wick.
John Wick. His dog dies and he goes fucking apeshit.
So John Wick with Rutger Hauer as an old man.
Yeah,
with a shotgun.
That's kind of what I'm imagining. Some sort of event in Rutger Hauer's life just sets him off, and he goes on
everybody.
Killing spree, because he's a hobo and he can.
You're
and
not so
somehow
far
he
off.
has a shotgun.
Yeah.
Well, it probably doesn't help that I have seen like the first few minutes. I don't remember those few minutes at all.
Right.
I remember gruesome deaths.
Quite a few.
I think. Was that early in the movie?
Yeah. It's like the first couple scenes, yeah. This movie was a spin-off from the Grindhouse movies that Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino made. They had a bunch of fake trailers. Or it was like they had a contest to make... They had a contest to make these fake trailers.
Oh, wow.
And Hobo with a Shotgun was like something these people shot on video. And it was it won the
with
contest.
Rutger
and
Hauer?
they made a real... No, they didn't have Rutger Hauer. They just had whoever. But...
Did
they liked it enough to make an actual movie out of it.
Now, wait, when did they make a trailer of it with Rutger Hauer for the Grindhouse film that they did?
I mean, they made a trailer for this movie we're about to watch.
No,
yeah,
well, I mean,
actual advertising,
gotcha.
But it was pretty similar to the original fake trailer they made. Yeah.
Would you see any kind of movie like this with Rutger Hauer?
I'm a big Rutger Hauer fan.
I mean, he's pretty much a badass.
Yeah. I've even seen his Blind Samurai movie.
I don't think I know that one.
Was it called like Blind Justice or something? It's ridiculous.
I don't know. What is it called?
I can't remember now. You're putting me on the spot. I didn't do research on that stuff. Yeah, I've seen a lot of his movies. I've read his stupid book. He was in Blade Runner.
What was his book?
It was called All Those Moments, and it was his autobiography.
Where is he from anyway?
He's from like Germany or Austria.
God, we're just butchering
his fucking name is Rutger, man.
We might as well just create a whole new history for Rutger Hauer because we clearly don't know anything about him, other than the fact that he's a tall, strapping, awesome badass of a man.
Yeah, however old he is now.
Who, it's funny. He looks completely different than he used to. I feel like now.
No, it's been a few years. It's not the 80s anymore.
No, I know, but I mean, like, yeah, Blade Runner, he looked like just this tall, huge dude.
He looked sort of Aryan, you know?
Yeah.
He had the blonde, the white hair.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because he was a robot.
Okay.
But then he grew into a hobo.
Yeah. He's always been this kind of like mountain of a man.
He's kind of got bigger jowls now, He's a little older. Time is definitely...
We can thank Christopher Nolan for bringing him back in Batman Begins.
It's true.
He had been kind of out of... I mean, I don't think he ever really stopped acting, but he was doing a lot of shitty movies.
Right. Christopher Nolan seems to do that quite a bit between, like, Eric Roberts...
Tom Berenger.
Like, he always seems to dig deep into these actors who stopped working for whatever reason. Or just stopped being cast, probably because they were pains in the ass.
And he put Robin Williams in a non-standard Robin Williams role in Insomnia.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But he did not put Rutger Hauer in Insomnia.
No. Rutger Hauer was not in Insomnia.
No.
Hobo with a Shotgun. Let's just get the show on the road.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I don't think I've seen you around here before. Let me guess. You rode in on the rail.
That's right.
Did anybody officially welcome you to town yet?
They never do.
Well, welcome to Fucktown!
Anti-crime groups have been springing up throughout the city, and their inspiration is this unidentified homeless man who's been delivering justice.
This is a goddamn fucking robbery! I'm gonna sleep in your bloody carcasses tonight!
Keep the change.
I want that hobo's head on my wall.
Jerk on this shit liquor!
I'll crucify him to a homeless shelter.
Put the knife away, kid, or I'll use it to cut welfare checks from your rotten skin. Hallelujah. You and me are going on a car ride to hell. You're riding shotgun.
You can't solve all the world's problems with a shotgun.
It's all I know.
We didn't write down any notes for this movie.
I don't know what I could write down possibly. I mean,
It's a short movie.
is it?
86 minutes, including credits.
This
So
is
it's probably
82.
yeah.
82 minutes. I mean, I can't imagine any schlock cult film being longer than 90 at maximum.
Right. How much do you need, really? You just need to fulfill the basic minimums of like a regular plot and then fill it with violence and exploitation.
But usually, even like 90-minute movies feel too long for this kind of a film. It's something that's just so outrageous and crazy. Usually, it doesn't live up to it because they would need a crazy budget to fulfill the expectations of the audience, like throughout every single scene.
Well, I don't think. I mean, they didn't have a crazy budget, and it was pretty clear, but they still fulfilled all of my expectations from the Grindhouse trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this is like everything I would need out of a movie called Hobo with a Shotgun. I want to go back and clear up right away. I said earlier that Miramax made this movie. It was released by Magnet. I don't think Miramax had anything to do with it. And
I thought Miramax did the original. Did they do the Grindhouse?
Well, yeah, because that was Rodriguez and Tarantino. So the Grindhouse movies was with Miramax, and the trailer that spawned this movie was made for a contest for those Grindhouse movies.
Right.
And in Canada, that original trailer was released with Grindhouse, but this is apparently not related to that, aside from
At all.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is everything you said was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. We don't research on this show.
That's the whole
We
point.
just kind of dive in.
Go in.
Yeah.
Go in. I mean,
get it
we
wrong,
always
oh
kind of
well.
know stuff, though. I mean, for the most part. Now, I was impressed actually how well it was put together. Like, this kind of movie is not easy to do. It's easy to, in theory, you think, oh yeah, we're gonna do this amazing. This is like a young filmmaker's wet dream. When they're sitting together with their buddies drunk
It's
at like
wet
a college
because
party.
it's all full of blood.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
all
oh
the blood.
man, let's just do something fucking crazy. There's blood everywhere. There's tits. There's gore.
God.
And
well,
it's harder to pull off than it's.
yeah, it's Grindhouse movies are not typically good movies, and when people set out to make a bad movie, they don't
bad.
make one that's even enjoyable. This one is a lot of fun. Quick rundown of the plot. Rutger Hauer plays a hobo. He comes into this town. Everybody calls it Fucktown, just because it is really shitty. It used to be called Hope Town, but now it's called Fucktown.
Of course.
Some bad dudes run the town. He just wants to save up some money to buy a lawnmower to start his own lawn mowing business. But then when he is about to buy that lawnmower after earning some money by chewing glass for a bum fights filmmaker guy, a robbery takes place. He grabs a fully loaded shotgun off the shelf and lays waste to the robbers. And he becomes like a vigilante across the city.
Yeah, because he has a choice between choosing his lifelong dream of a lawnmower for $49.99 which
Or
is
this
how much
pump
he's
action shotgun for
how much he's earned
$49.99.
up, or this shotgun that he can kill all these guys with that apparently just runs off of infinite number of shotgun shells.
Yeah, we see him loading it, but we never see him actually take any shells. He just
I mean, he takes it off the wall and it's already
it's
fully
ready to
loaded.
go. Yeah. Well, let's talk about some technique. I mean, there's not a lot of tension in this movie. There's not a lot of Hitchcockian technique. They're
Right.
throwing everything they have at the camera all the time.
Well, yeah, you're not really. Well, I don't know. I kept thinking that the girl I kept thinking that they were gonna kill her or something like brutally, and then that would
they
give
probably.
him. I mean, she might as well have been like she nearly had her head cut off with a saw, with a hand saw.
Rutger Hauer as the hobo befriends Gesundheit, a hooker with sort of a heart of gold. He saves her from an attack by one of these bad dudes. She lets him in her house. They become pals. And for all of her good intentions, she gets attacked again and again. Like you're just saying, somebody takes a hacksaw to her neck. She ends up in the hospital.
Like saws halfway through her collarbone.
My God. That was hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
And not the makeup effects aren't even that good. They're just so like
Well, they're just so schlocky.
nasty.
They're just like it's like they took a plastic Ralph's bag and filled it with like slop and just like would pop it and just have it burst. So it didn't look like the skin had any texture. It was just kind of like this plasticky.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
It's pretty gross stuff.
So
But
many people get blasted open at some point, but she doesn't.
She gets like picked up by her neck. She gets her hand like totally messed up by a lawnmower blade.
Yeah, she goes and buys the lawnmower finally, and somebody takes her hand and like pushes it into the blade, and it's just like getting dissolved.
Yeah,
You're watching it get dissolved like as
totally obliterated.
she's like, "Ah!"
Everybody else is like that a balloon filled with red food coloring, but she can take a licking and keep on ticking.
Yeah.
As far as we know, at the end of this movie, she is alive. I don't know how.
Now, do you think before Rutger Hauer comes into town, he rides the train into town? Do you think the rest of the world that he's come from? He says at some point it's like it's a normal world outside of this place. Is this just like the one Mad Max community that's just like run by a crazy person and his two sons
and the two robot demon things?
Yeah, they have they have these two like
they're sort of henchmen, I guess, but
they're like
I don't know what
they're
they
like
are.
a mythological creature type because they
it's this killer murderous sort of armored robot duo called the Plague. They are jointly known as the Plague, and they have a little hit list on their castle wall. Don't ask me how they have a castle, but there's a picture of Jesus crossed out. There's a picture of Abraham Lincoln crossed out. And then they put up a picture of the hobo and crossed that out when they've captured him.
I thought I saw Joan of Arc on there, too.
Oh, Joan of Arc, yeah. A lot of historical figures.
So these guys have been around a while, apparently. And they consider the hobo with a shotgun to be like one of the top... He fits in these top 10 enemies that they've killed.
Yeah, he made the wall.
He made the wall.
And we also see in the background... they're trying to keep a big tentacled monster... inside their dungeon, which is trying to escape. They never go into any more detail with these plague people. They just show up and do the bidding of the bad guys, but they apparently have a dungeon full of monsters.
Lovecraftian monsters.
And they kill Jesus.
And they killed Jesus, yes. But, and then, if you go to what's the name? Drake?
Drake.
Is that the guy?
Drake
is the guy who runs this place. It's kind of like the Running Man. In the sense you got somebody running this like game show. He tries to treat all his murders as like a game or
it's
entertainment show, entertainment for the people that he provides for. But you see throughout the movie like his two sons like basically just kill and slaughter anyone and everyone, including entire school buses full of children that they burn to the ground.
It's just to keep the populace under control, to control them with fear. That's why.
How do you feel on a moral scale after having seen this movie?
Oh, I'm pretty devastated. I feel pretty empty inside.
Do you feel that these kind of movies make people act out and
No, I don't think it makes people act out. It's
laugh and shiver and shake to death?
It's I mean, some of these kills are pretty brutal, but some are pretty funny. Like when the whole town has been ordered to hunt down all the homeless people, in the hunt for the hobo with a shotgun. One guy hides inside a cardboard box on a construction site, and then a guy who's driving a construction vehicle squashes it, and it's like 100 gallons of red water just splooshing out the side.
That was probably my favorite in the movie.
I mean, they did get a little bit creative with the kills. It wasn't just a bunch of mindless mayhem.
The one of the first things they see, like before they introduce the hooker character, is Rutger Hauer sneaks into like a nightclub or whatever, and they've got a bumper cars thing going on, and they take this poor guy and they set him down with his head sticking out, and then they take 2 bumper cars and just ram into his head so fast that it just explodes.
It's like a Gallagher show.
And they do this a few times, and they take like the next guy's brains and smear it all over the next guy.
And these people are into it. I don't know if they're all just totally high on cocaine or what.
I mean, it's a totally realistic movie.
Really natural color palette with
Yeah.
all the neon greens and blues and pinks and very 80s
They definitely
inspired.
went grindhouse all the way, and they really pulled it off. You said this was shot on a red Epic.
Yeah, shot on a red, and they made it look like it was 16 millimeter reversal.
I would love to see this movie without any of the treatment done to it, because it's probably the flattest, ugliest movie you can imagine.
I'm sure the producers watching the dailies are like, what the fuck?
They're probably like, oh God, are we wasting our money? Like, this is going to be a nightmare. What was your favorite part about this?
My favorite part is probably the montage after he gets the shotgun and he goes out taking out criminals.
Where he keeps telling them, like, I'm not going to kill you. I want you to go somewhere. And then
Yeah, get out of town.
Get
and
out
then
of
they
town, and then he
scream, he's like,
shoots
oh,
them.
come on. Also, the first time he gets to stay in the hooker's apartment, she provides him with a bear sweater.
Oh, yeah.
Just some like clean clothes.
That was like the one like sweet moment in the whole movie, the whole bear story.
But it was hilarious because he starts going like, let me tell you something about bears. And he realistically portrays a crazy homeless guy from beginning to end.
Oh, yeah.
I bought Rutger Hauer's and nutty homeless guy. Let me tell you something about bears. They got such big claws. If one bear claw were to touch your face, it would tear your face right off of your skull, and you would die from it.
he says it. He delivers it so like perfectly and so cleanly, and
Yeah,
then
he's so sincere. He thinks he's telling an interesting story about bears, but he sounds like a fucking crazy person.
his to see him like come in and like half the movie, I was thinking, I wonder what Rutger Hauer is thinking at this time, because obviously, I get the feeling he was totally on board. Like he heard about the project and was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Like,
I don't remember any details from his autobiography, even if it covered this time in his life.
when was the autobiography written?
That's what I don't remember. It might have been after this, might have been before. We don't do research here, okay? I read the book like 2 years ago. I do remember other stories he wrote about, like on other much shittier movies, like Asylum quality movies. Mm-hmm. He claims he always goes into it trying to make the best possible movie.
Sure.
He doesn't treat it as just a paycheck. He always thinks about it. He's trying to come up with new dialogue, maybe some things the writers didn't think of before. So I have no doubt that he went into this totally like
So he was acting during the day, and he was an actual hobo with a shotgun at night, vigilante, storming the streets of Nova Scotia or wherever they filmed this.
Yeah, someplace in Canada. I don't know that he was doing the method so much on this one.
I'd like to believe it.
I could believe it.
How'd you feel about the performances of everyone else in this movie?
The two sons of the evil guy, they were way over the top, but in a good way.
They're good. Yeah.
Yeah, they were fine.
The one who gets his dick blown off, he had great close-up moments.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate hobos. And then he lights up a whole school bus.
yeah, and then he takes a flamethrower to like 12 kids. It was pretty graphic.
I mean, I've seen some shit in movies. Let me tell you, I have seen some stuff.
I haven't
and
seen
both
anybody
me and Chad
walk
were sitting
on-
here going like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody walk onto a school bus full of children and like laugh at the kids and be like, "Hey, What do we hate? Or, I forget what they say.
Do you like ice cream? Do you like school? Do you like hobos?
He's like,
hate
hobos.
hobos.
And they all cheer, and then he lights them up basically, and just melts them all.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
The whole movie's pretty brutal, man.
Now, there's definitely
within the first 5 minutes, they're ripping someone's head off with a car.
I mean, that's been done before.
Oh, has it?
Well, not in this particular way, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this definitely has a lot of Mad Max vibes.
Yes.
I'm assuming this genre existed before Mad Max.
The genre?
Well, just the genre of, I mean, grindhouse movies obviously are around. I assume at the end of the 60s, 70s.
People would call this an exploitation movie, but I don't know who's being exploited. Homeless people? If they made it with real homeless people, it would totally be an exploitation movie.
Well, there's a filmmaker in that you were talking about that's within the movie who's totally like doing the bum fights thing.
Yeah, I'll give you $10 to eat this glass.
Right, I'll give you $10. Yeah, beat this guy in the face. Like, to watch that guy get killed, that was pretty. I
like that.
That was fun. Although we didn't clearly even get to see him die, so that kind of brings you to like some of these people you actually you want to see die.
Yeah. Other ones, they knew they had to film.
And you want to see them die in like the most horrific way possible. Or at least I do, because I'm a sick fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I am too. Yeah, they didn't do it, they didn't give everybody a nice close-up, but the evil cop, well, I mean, all the cops are pretty evil, but the one in particular who's chasing down the hooker, my God, he gets shot in the head first, his head is gone, and then Rutger Hauer continues to shoot.
Well, he keeps shooting him with a shotgun until he just keeps exploding. But his
it's
teeth,
just more and more
his
gore.
teeth, after he gets shot in the head and his head explodes, his teeth shoot against the wall and are like dripping down the wall.
As the hooker, Abby is screaming, ah! But his teeth are just kind of right behind her. Wow. Was it enjoyable to you?
I found it enjoyable. My problem with exploitation / movies like this is that the rewatchability isn't as good for me because they're, like you said, there's not that extra layer of stuff you can kind of dig for.
There's nothing there. It's just a piece of two-dimensional entertainment.
Right. And then some of the characters aren't that three-dimensional either, so it's fun to go see Drunk with Your Buddies midnight at the Westwood Theater or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as a rewatchability thing, it's like, okay, cool, I saw that once, I don't need to see it again. I think that's why I was never attracted to see it to begin with, because I felt like I already knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I felt like I got the enjoyment out of watching the trailer.
Well, the trailer, I mean, they got all those moments in the movie for sure. They made sure to get those in. But the story elements that are in the movie, they don't add anything extra. You're absolutely right.
But to answer your question, yeah, I totally enjoyed it. It's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
I would.
Let's not forget the dancing girl under the shower of blood.
Oh, yeah.
Also at the beginning for no fucking reason.
It's the first guy that gets his head ripped off, who's the brother of Drake.
Yeah.
Gets his head ripped off.
It becomes a fountain, a 10-foot high fountain of blood shooting out of his body.
Girl shows up in a bikini immediately and just like starts rubbing blood all over her body, which of course, because it's a grindhouse film.
Right.
But that also wasn't...
They don't need any other reason.
Well, it wasn't that consistent through the entire movie either. They kind of went through ebbs and flows where you could kind of tell, I guess, maybe that they didn't have the ability to spend so much. Because a lot of people that you expected to just see their heads explode, you don't see them die. They die off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Like the video camera guy, I don't think...
Exactly.
You want to see him die, but he dies off camera.
Yeah, you could tell where they were spending their money. That first scene that we keep talking about, where they rip a guy's head off with a car, you could even sort of tell physically where the budget stopped working because everything on the street level, they tried to like put a bunch of junk on the ground and have a lot of extras standing around watching this happen. But above 10 feet high, it was just sort of like, oh, we're in the suburbs. They didn't do anything else. All the houses look clean.
Like clean.
Everything
you
was
could
fine.
tell.
So they probably should have shot it in some neighborhood.
Good old Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I wonder what the budget of this was. Because
Mm-hmm.
it seemed low, but
But good enough to get a lot of
good enough. I wonder how many
gunshots and stuff.
days they took to film it. Because it felt like a lot of the stuff seemed like it took a long time. Like they need a lot of setup, or they just had to know exactly what they were doing. You know, and maybe they did. Like I think most of these kind of movies probably in the 70s they probably only dedicated maybe like 12 to 15 days to shooting an entire feature. Like this kind of feature, I feel like
Shit
maybe
like this, they'd be trying to like do this guerrilla style,
right,
with no
which
police
is why
approval or anything.
so many of those movies are boring for a lot of it because they shoot it in so little time, and you just don't have time to set up these special effects like on set, like blood hits and all that, exploding heads. Like that shit is messy and it takes a long time to set up. Like,
Or it's just the reason why a lot of those movies are not slow but bad. Like they don't have the squibs and they just have a guy going, "Oh, I've been shot,"
right,
with no action.
no lawnmower to like saw someone's arm off.
Yeah. That's still nasty looking.
Can you think of a grindhouse movie that has some value to it beyond just the graphic?
I haven't
nature?
seen a lot of actual grindhouse movies, so no, I can't think of.
The Tarantino film. That might be one of the only ones I can think of. The Death Proof.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That one I also consider a legit grindhouse movie like this.
right.
Planet Terror, the Robert Rodriguez one,
Not so much.
It had tons of CG.
Although
and
that
it
felt
wasn't-
like this, more like this.
Yeah, it did. But
I know
Death
what
Proof
you mean,
was
yeah.
the real deal. Like they actually did real car stunts, and it actually was super slow, and people hated it because it was nothing but these women talking for the first
For the
half of
first
it.
half of it. But it was like two totally different movies.
Yeah.
Split, Death Proof was like the first half was, the girls who all get killed by Kurt Russell, and then Kurt Russell's the only through line to the end. And the second half of that movie I love. There's parts of it I don't like, but there's redeeming qualities in that movie that make it enjoyable to watch a second time.
Yeah,
Like Zoe, she's awesome in that movie.
she is awesome in that movie.
She gets thrown off the hood of the car, and everybody thinks she's like dead in the field, and she
then
just
she goes,
pops up.
Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since I saw it in the theater, and I haven't seen Hobo with a Shotgun since I saw it in the theater originally.
Did we see Grindhouse in the theater together?
Don't know.
I saw it at the Westwood.
No,
Anyway.
I think I was with other people. I really don't remember now. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But this movie, I enjoyed watching it a second time, but it has been 5 years.
Has it really been that long since this came
It
out?
came out in 2011.
Wowza.
It's been at least 5 years since I saw it, and, it was fresh enough that I could do it again. I recommend it to anybody who's just looking for a crazy, like, ridiculous, fun movie. If you don't mind a little gore here and there.
I mean, aren't they one and the same?
I mean, a smattering of gore in this movie.
A smattering. I like that word choice.
A splattering of gore.
If you were to make a Grindhouse movie, what would it be?
Shit, I don't know. It would have to be,
You've got an obsession with the not the Thin Man, but what was the
Slender Man?
Slender Man. Has anybody made that into a movie yet?
Yeah, they have. That was like a web series on YouTube called Marble Hornets. You'll have to find out what that title means.
Wait, do you want to explain what Slender Man is for anybody out there?
Everybody knows what Slender Man is.
I mean, I don't necessarily know.
You brought it up. You know what Slender Man is?
Just because I know you're scared to death of it.
I was. I mean, now it's kind of like old hat, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody showed up at the door right now dressed as Slender Man, I might be a little wigged out.
Who, that guy?
But no, the people who basically made all the original web series for Slender Man on YouTube, they've already made a movie, and other people have made movies that aren't quite as good.
But the whole idea was that it was like an not open source, but
Yeah, you can call it an open source monster.
Public domain.
Public domain creature.
So anybody could technically do it.
Yeah,
and
Slender Man was invented on the Something Awful forums years ago. And it was
my favorite collection of human beings on the planet.
It was literally like they just held like a casual contest, Photoshop contest. Hey, everybody, invent like a new monster. And somebody invented Slender Man. And it took off from there. Everybody shit their pants because he's a skinny dude with tentacles and stealing kids.
What were the monsters that didn't make it?
I don't know.
Past round 1.
I don't remember. They weren't very good. They're not memorable.
I don't know. There's got to be a few in there that were good.
Maybe. But movies like Sinister, and there's a new one called The Bye Bye Man, which is a horrible title. Those are kind of basically Slender Man movies, from what I'm gathering.
Really?
Did you ever see Sinister?
No.
It's this monster that lives in media, in photos, in maybe drawings, but photos and like film and video. That's where he lives. And if you see it, now he's onto you.
Kind of like The Ring?
Kind of like The Ring, too. Whoop, there's my text message.
Kind of like your phone making weird noises.
But in Sinister, this monster would sort of control the children like Slender Man and kill all the adults.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Sounds like family friendly.
I like Sinister.
Well, any other parting thoughts on this movie before we give a proper send off?
With the audience, I will share my favorite line from Hobo with a Shotgun.
Okay.
When life gives you razor blades, make a baseball bat covered in razor blades. Peace.